The pregnant woman's eyes widened as the Belgian Malinois continued barking at her. She took an uneasy step back, one hand protectively cradling her belly. "Please make him stop," she pleaded, looking around desperately. But Kaiser didn't back down. He growled low, his muscles tense, his gaze locked onto her like she was hiding something dangerous. Mark exchanged a look with the other security officers. He knew Kaiser wasn't acting on impulse. He was trained to detect threats. But this was different. Was it possible she was carrying something illegal? Was she a threat? A nearby officer, a tall man with a stern face, stepped forward. "Ma'am, we need to ask you a few questions," he said firmly. The woman's face turned pale. "I don't understand. I haven't done anything wrong." Her voice trembled, panic creeping in. Passengers whispered among themselves, their eyes darting between the woman and the barking dog. Some looked suspicious, others concerned. Mark hesitated. Was this just a misunderstanding, or was Kaiser detecting something no one else could see? Trusting his partner's instincts, he made the call. "We need to take her in for further screening," he said. Whatever was happening, they had to find out, fast. Two uniformed officers gently but firmly escorted the pregnant woman toward a private security screening room. Her breaths were quick and shallow, her hands trembling as she clutched her belly. "Please," she begged, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know what's happening." Mark followed closely behind with Kaiser, who still refused to calm down. His sharp eyes remained locked onto the woman, his body coiled like a spring. Mark had never seen him this persistent before. Inside the screening room, an officer carefully searched the woman's belongings, while another prepared to conduct a body scan. "Do you have any medical conditions we should know about?" A female officer asked, her tone softer. The woman shook her head. "No, I'm 7 months pregnant. That's all." Her voice wavered, as if she were unsure. Meanwhile, outside the room, Kaiser paced back and forth, whining and scratching at the door. Mark frowned. This wasn't normal. If she wasn't carrying anything illegal, then what had Kaiser detected? An uneasy silence settled in the room. Then, suddenly, the woman gasped and clutched her stomach, a look of shock flashing across her face. Something was wrong. The room fell silent as the woman's face contorted in pain. She let out a sharp gasp, her hands clutching her belly. "Something's wrong," she whispered, her voice trembling. Beads of sweat formed on her forehead, and her breathing grew labored. Mark's instincts kicked in. "Get medical assistance, now!" He barked at one of the officers. The woman's legs buckled, and she collapsed into a chair, her body trembling. Her panic was evident, but so was something else. Fear. Kaiser whined and scratched at the door more urgently now, his usual alertness shifting to distress. Mark had never seen his canine partner react this way. The officer who had been searching her bag stepped back, momentarily frozen. "Is she going into labor?" he muttered, eyes wide with uncertainty. The woman shook her head violently. No, it's too early," she gasped, wincing as another sharp pain struck her. Tears welled in her eyes. "Please help me." A paramedic team rushed in, pushing through the security personnel. The lead medic knelt beside her. "Ma'am, stay with me. We need to get you to a hospital immediately." Mark's heart pounded. This wasn't just about security anymore. This was about saving 2 lives. The paramedics worked swiftly, checking the woman's vitals as she groaned in pain. "Her pulse is erratic," one of them murmured. "We need to move now." As they prepared to transport her, Kaiser suddenly lunged forward, sniffing the air with renewed intensity. His ears flattened, and he let out a low, uneasy growl. Mark's stomach twisted. Something was still wrong. Just then, one of the paramedics noticed something strange. "Wait," he said, his eyes narrowing. He carefully pressed his hand against the woman's abdomen, feeling for movement. A moment later, he froze. This isn't just early labor. Something else is happening. The woman's breathing became ragged, her face pale. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "I don't know what's wrong," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Please, just help my baby." Mark clenched his fists. Kaiser had sensed danger before anyone else, but what exactly had he detected? The answer came in a chilling moment. One of the paramedics turned to Mark, his face grim. "There's an internal rupture. If we don't get her into surgery now, both she and the baby won't make it." Mark's blood ran cold. Kaiser hadn't been wrong. He had been trying to save their lives. The airport erupted into chaos as the paramedics rushed the woman toward the ambulance, their voices sharp with urgency. Mark and Kaiser ran alongside them, weaving through stunned passengers who had stopped to watch. The woman's breaths were shallow now, her eyes fluttering as if she were on the verge of losing consciousness. "Stay with us," one of the paramedics urged, gripping her hand. "We're almost there." Kaiser, normally intense and focused, whined anxiously, his eyes never leaving the woman. It was as if he understood the gravity of the situation. Mark felt a lump rise in his throat. Had it not been for Kaiser, they never would have known something was wrong in time. As the paramedics lifted her into the ambulance, the woman turned her head slightly, her lips trembling. "Thank you," she whispered, looking directly at Kaiser. The Belgian Malinois let out a low, comforting whimper, his body tense with anticipation. Mark gave him a reassuring pat. "You did good, buddy," he murmured. The ambulance doors slammed shut, and within seconds it sped away, sirens blaring. But as Mark watched it disappear into the distance, one question still haunted him. Would she and her baby make it in time? Hours passed, each one stretching painfully long. Mark sat outside the hospital with Kaiser by his side, his fingers running absently through the dog's fur. The Belgian Malinois had finally calmed, though his ears perked up at every passing sound. Mark understood why. Kaiser was waiting for news, just like he was. Finally, the door swung open and a doctor approached. His face was unreadable at first, making Mark's stomach tighten. But then, a small smile appeared. "She made it," he said. "Both mother and baby are stable." Mark exhaled, realizing he had been holding his breath. "Thank God," he muttered, glancing down at Kaiser. The dog's tail gave a slight wag, as if he too understood the relief in the air. The doctor hesitated before continuing. "There was an undetected internal rupture," he explained. "If she hadn't gotten medical attention when she did, she and the baby wouldn't have survived." He shook his head in amazement. "I don't know how your dog sensed it, but he saved her life." Just then, a nurse stepped forward, holding a note from the mother. It had only a few words, but they made Mark's throat tighten. "Tell the dog, he's my angel." If you were moved by this incredible story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an amazing tale like this. Stay with us for more heartwarming and unbelievable stories.